Okay, so let's talk Valentine's Day chic. And no, I don't mean cheap chocolates and last-minute cards. We're talking about a full-on style movement that's taking all those romantic symbols we know and elevating them into true high fashion. This isn't just about what you're going to wear on February 14th. It's about a whole aesthetic that's really defining modern elegance. So let's get into it. You know, this quote right here, it absolutely nails it. It really gets to the heart of what we're exploring. It's not just about being sweet, it's about that incredible tension, that magic that happens when soft romantic ideas are shaped with the sharp, polished precision of a runway look. And that blend, that's what makes it so captivating. So to really get a handle on this trend, we're going to walk through 5 key areas. First up, we'll define what V-Day chic actually is. Then we'll break down the style guide, the nuts and bolts. We'll meet its icons, figure out what sets it apart. And finally, we'll look at how you can master the look for yourself. All right, so let's dive right into our first section. What is Valentine's Day chic? Is this just some fleeting trend we're seeing online, or is it something bigger, a new chapter in high fashion? Let's trace it back. So at its core, this aesthetic is all about how it's done, the execution. It takes those familiar romantic symbols, things like hearts and bows, and completely transforms them. The real key here is the focus on premium fabrics. We're talking silk and organza, and the use of sharp, structured tailoring. It's the difference between looking like you're wearing a costume versus a totally curated look. Now, this trend didn't just pop up out of nowhere. You can trace its DNA all the way back to the glamour of old Hollywood and the effortless romance of Parisian street style. But what's really interesting is its explosion in the 2020s. It just blew up on Instagram and Pinterest, almost like a direct response to years of minimalist loungewear. It felt like everyone had this collective craving for more expressive, hyper-feminine fashion. So we know the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. What are the actual building blocks? The essential pieces and colors that come together to create that V-Day chic aesthetic. The real magic of this whole look is that beautiful balance between soft and structured. You've got these fluid, really delicate pieces like satin slip dresses and sheer blouses, but they're always grounded by something sharp and tailored, like a structured wool coat. And texture is absolutely everything. Silk, organza, and fine lace give you that essential feeling of luxury. In the color story, it's just as intentional. So red is the undisputed star here, making up about 40% of the palette. But it's supported by this whole spectrum of romantic shades: crimson, fuchsia, blush pinks. But here's the secret. That 15% devoted to neutral anchors like black or sleek gray, that's what grounds the entire look and keeps it sophisticated, not cutesy or overwhelming. Of course, a fashion movement is nothing without its icons, right? So next up, let's look at the muses and the makers, the celebrities and the designers who are really the driving force behind Valentine's Day chic. So who's really embodying this? Well, you've got people like Selena Gomez, who just nails those classic, elegant, romantic silhouettes every single time. And then you have someone like Margot Robbie, who brings in this more playful, almost polished doll energy. It just goes to show how versatile this aesthetic can be while still feeling incredibly high-end. And you can't talk about this without mentioning the big fashion houses. I mean, Jean-Baptiste Valli is the undisputed king of dramatic tulle and romance. Simone Rocha offers this darker, more avant-garde interpretation, which is just incredible. And then you have brands like Miu Miu and Jacquemus who are constantly playing with the core elements: the bows, the hearts, the pastels, and always keeping the look fresh and modern. Okay, this next part is super important because we need to make a key distinction here. With all the hearts and the pinks, it's really easy to just lump this look in with a bunch of other trends. So let's get clear on what sets V-Day chic apart and makes it so unique. So, you might think of aesthetics like coquette or Barbiecore, but those really lean into a playful, youthful, kind of streetwear cute vibe. Valentine's Day chic, on the other hand, is defined by its emotional maturity. The focus is always on structure, on polish, and a real high fashion sensibility. I guess the easiest way to put it is think gala, not garden party. And honestly, it's so much more than just the clothes. It's an entire energy. The whole vibe is what you might call dreamy yet focused. And you'll often see it paired with a very specific beauty look, the glass skin trend, which is all about a dewy, luminous, almost translucent complexion that just perfectly complements those luxurious fabrics. All right, let's bring this all home. For our final section, we're going to distill everything we've talked about into the key takeaways for anyone out there who's feeling inspired to make this aesthetic their own. It really boils down to 3 simple rules. First, prioritize quality over quantity. One really great piece is always going to be better than 5 cheap ones. Second, always balance something soft with something structured. That right there is the secret formula. And finally, when in doubt, a classic red lip is the perfect finishing touch to tie it all together. Ultimately, the real power of this aesthetic is in what it communicates. It's a way to express both vulnerability and strength, softness and sophistication all at the same time. It's fashion with real emotional depth.
And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Is this trend really just about a single holiday? Or does it maybe represent something more? A year-round commitment to embracing grace and elegance and just plain beauty in the way we present ourselves to the world. Something to think about.